And we offer craft food and beverages, meaning we make everything fresh on site when you order. And all of our food and our beverages are prepared and served by adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
And then lastly, just say the name. Tom? There you go. Enjoy. My favorite part of working at Jerry's Cafe is definitely interacting with friends I've met throughout the years and the espresso machine.
My co-founder Amy Philpott and I opened Jerry's Cafe for job opportunities. And a staggering statistic tells us that 80% of adults with disabilities are unemployed. I believe differently, and this is the place where our employees can work and feel proud and contribute and can see that they have value and purpose, and they are given the responsibility that anyone would be given in a job. And we expect nothing less than them to perform at their highest level. So we see great success in every single employee and their independence and their offerings and activities here at Jerry's Cafe.
The large, hot, white chocolate pumpkin pie with whipped cream, it is to die for. It is delicious. It's amazing. Well, the favorite part of working here is that I get to serve customers. I am a cashier. They understand to include people with us with exceptionalities.
I wanted to tell you, I've been watching you today. You're really good at your job. You're doing great.
I always like to serve customers. Customers go first.
We are super proud of our partnership with District 214. District 214 has been a supporter from the very beginning of our foundation. And several of the schools have done fundraising and helped us get our doors open to Jerry's Cafe. Proudly, we have 12 or 13 graduates from the District 214 schools who work at Jerry's Cafe as our active employees.
This is where we do our salad prep. This is where we make all the salads. And then over here is the sandwich line. This is where we make all of our sandwiches. I have worked here since day one. I love it here. I love my supportive team members, and I like serving customers. Here is one chicken Mediterranean trip salad.
We know that our community members have lots of choices, but we're hoping that you will come and choose Jerry's Cafe.
Thank you.
When you come inside and engage with our employees, you feel a sense of joy, and you will start your day feeling the best way that you can, with a joyful heart and knowing that Jerry's Cafe has provided you with delicious coffee, breakfast, or lunch.
All right, welcome to our 55th year of putting together an incredible community service project through our SOS class here at John Hersey High School. As you can see around me, it is organized chaos, but it is an incredible day for our students to serve our community by packaging and collecting food that's going to be going to local food pantries in our area to support those in need.
We're really happy to be able to do the food drive here at Hersey because it really just brings the whole school together, and we are able to help our community and bring the energy with everyone here.
Take it out.
For the past, I would say about 2 months, we've been kind of working together with SOS, Junior Leaders, Baseball, and we've all gathered together. We've done bag and tag with 12 different communities, and we've all come together, and it's really amazing to see the turnout. And then later on, we're going to be visiting 8 local food pantries, and it's really exciting. We're just thankful for everyone who's helped each other along the way. It's been really fun.
It's a team effort, but it's been so fun.
Prospect Marching Knights are heading to D.C.
We're in Washington, D.C.
Prospect Marching Knights were invited to travel to Washington, D.C. this year for Veterans Day. So we're taking the band out to our nation's capital. We're going to do some great tours of some of the monuments and the museums and a lot of the sites of D.C. But it all culminates with performances on Veterans Day. So we've been working really hard to prepare, and we're so excited for our students to have this opportunity. Throughout the trip, we had a few opportunities where veterans would actually see our group of students out and about and spoke to our students. So in addition to touring these places, our students were able to actually interact with a number of veterans over the course of the trip, which kind of made everything a little more real and genuine and authentic. So our first day in DC was really impactful and gave our students sort of a big picture overview of the city and some of the history, and really set the stage for our performance day coming up. So on Veterans Day, our morning started off with a performance at the Lincoln Memorial. There we were, right on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, facing the Washington Monument. Just a really special opportunity for our students to have a really great place to perform.
It was an honor to perform on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial with the PMK, where so much of America's history has taken place.
The experience was very impactful for me. It was a unique opportunity that I have never had before, and it was something that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
One of our students, Emily Pollock, was also asked to deliver a speech at the Lincoln Memorial.
I've always wanted to help people, so I'm going to serve my country. More specifically, I want to become an officer in the military.
Her speech was really wonderful and got a really great reception at the event. In fact, after the event was over, I had a number of veterans come track me down to tell me how great her speech was, and actually they wanted to meet her and take pictures with her because they were so moved by what she had to say.
My father served in the Navy, and so he instilled in me the value of serving and caring for our veterans and those who serve us. And so being able to thank them today and place medals around their shoulders and welcome them home was really impactful for me as well.
United States Air Force.
It was an honor to play at the World War II Memorial today. It was such an honor because music is a way to share emotions without using words.
Our performances in DC got a lot of really good responses. One of them, a story was told to me by one of our chaperones, that there was literally a Marine veteran who was at a performance at the Iwo Jima Memorial who was literally in tears watching the performance and just expressed to our chaperone how much it meant to him that this group of teenagers from the Chicago area had come out there and was performing. And he was just really moved by it, and I thought that was just a really neat story to hear coming out of the performance. So any trip like this takes a lot of time and energy to put together. I feel really fortunate that our school was very supportive of this endeavor. We had a bunch of parents who traveled with us and did anything they could to make this a great experience for our students. I'm so glad we were able to bring our students to DC. Veterans Day seemed like a perfect time to bring them, and it really, just in the end, I think the whole trip turned out really, really great, and I'm so happy we were able to make it happen.
Super excited to have the 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit here at Hersey High School. As the truck arrived, we had Hersey parents out front with some patriotic balloons. We had Hersey students lining the sidewalks. We had some, mini American flags like they would show on the honor flights. The spirit was high.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Stephen Siller Tunnel of Towers mobile exhibit. We have a 50-foot trailer, approximately 1,100 square feet exhibit. We travel our nation to commemorate the brave sacrifice of the firefighters, police officers that gave their life that day in the greatest rescue and recovery effort in our nation's history.
The reason we're here is at Hershey High School to come educate our youth on the happenings of that day, but also the happenings of the days after, and to let them know that it was a huge tragedy. It was the single largest loss of life day we've ever had. It was also the largest rescue we've ever had as well, but just all the good that has come from that tragic day. And they're going to learn things that they can't read about. They're going to hear stories that some have never been told, some have been told many times.
Stephen Siller was one of the 343 firefighters that died that morning. He was getting off duty that morning. He was going to play golf with his older brothers, heard the plane strike, heard on the news that the plane struck the building, turned around, drove back to his firehouse, Squad 1, located in downtown Brooklyn. They had already been dispatched to the disaster. He got his gear, drove his own truck to the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, where he donned 60 pounds of gear, ran 2.5 miles through the tunnel, mustered up with the rest of the firefighters, and gave his life that day, honoring his oath that he took to protect life and property.
So this is about remembering. So we want people to remember, obviously, for adults to remember and for the kids to learn. So we don't want this forgotten. It's not taught in most schools in America. And they have the privilege of talking to people who are there. You know, we can't talk to people who were in the Civil War or these other moments in American history, but they can. And I think that's pretty special. Thanks for having us, and this means more to us than you. This means a lot to these kids. And these kids would be great. They're very respectful, they listen. It's nice to see.
A special thanks, especially to the FDNY crew, to the Silver Foundation, to Soldiers Journey Home, to District 214, to all of Hershey. I'm grateful for everybody. A special shout out to Bill Dustin for the Magic Spirit. Special shout out to Chief Harris, Arlington Heights Police. The coolest part about this project was there's like a whole bunch of people that were on it and did it. It wouldn't have happened without a whole bunch of people. The list is just too long, and to me, that's actually a good thing to celebrate.
This is the Rolling Meadows Band alumni event, so we decided to get the band back together. This year being the 40th anniversary of the Jazz and Meadows Festival, so it was kind of an opportunity to, hey, can we bring people back at homecoming? I had talked to some of the previous band directors, so that's Len King in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. We have Bill Jastrow and David Boggs from the 90s. And then of course, Chris Booty, who retired several years ago. Those people set the foundation for everything that we have here.
I'm giving you a hug if that's okay. Oh my God, look at you.
I'd have paid money to be here tonight. I really would have. It's one of those things I'd pay money to be here. This is the band reunion where your closest friends were really at in high school. And so you're with your closest friends and regrouping after 40-something years and going, holy cow.
Yeah. Mr. King is the reason why I'm here today, not just at the school, but what I do in life. I owe everything to Mr. King. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone to college. And if I hadn't gone to college, who knows what I would be doing.
You know, some of the stuff that we're doing right now is like we never stop doing it, you know, just to be around these guys again and just hanging out. 40 years seems like a long time, but it seems like it's kind of a short time too, you know.
This is fantastic. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but not this good. 52 of my actual students are in this group. I get a lot of feedback from them telling me how much they enjoyed the music program with me and how they appreciate music for their life. That's really special because to know that they are still thinking about me and what we did here, it's just very satisfying.
Well, I flew back and I'm glad I did, you know, especially to see Mr. King. He meant a lot to us. He just brought in the jazz and I mean, we had world class, you know, experience that most kids never would have had, you know, a real depth of exposure to great music because of Mr. King, so I'm glad I got to see him.
It's so fun to be back though, I love it. My family's here, they're so excited.
So is my family.
Yeah.
My son's here, my husband's here, so
Yeah.
it's really great.
If you are on the fence of coming, debating about whether to come or not, you should definitely come next time. It feels like a long time ago, but in some ways like you never left. Like I'm like, okay, we're gonna go march over to the stadium and we're gonna play for the football team. So yeah, okay.
Thank you to all the alumni who are coming here today. I mean, some people are traveling across the country. I know one of the directors came from Arizona. That's a testament to really what this event is about, and it's bringing people together through our shared love of music and how music has changed our lives and shaped who we are as humans.
Alumni, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. This is the business meeting of Township High School District 214 Board of Education for Thursday, May 8th, 2025. Ms. Keys, could you please call the roll?
Heineman.
Here.
Fiorito.
Here.
Dessling.
Yes.
And Kreutzer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Linda? Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
There's
By
been a
Heineman.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Dessling. And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the April 24th open and closed meeting. Can I have a motion and a second, please? And please say your name.
Moved. Fiorito.
Second. Heineman.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Dessling.
Yes.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the April 1st, 2025 canvass of election. Dr. Rowe.
All right, the results provided by the Election Department of the Cook County Clerk's Office state that a ballot of ballots that were cast for the 4-year terms, the results were as follows. Mark Heineman with 20,766 votes, Mary Kay Baldino, 21,133 votes, Vicki Chung, 20,924 votes, and Joe Sager, 20,004 votes. According to the canvass results, the Cook County Clerk has determined that Mark Hyman, Mary Kay Baldino, Vicki Chung, and Joe Sager are duly elected to 4-year terms. The administration recommends the board accepts the results of the canvass.
Can I have a motion and a second to accept the canvass results?
Motion. Fiorito.
Second. Heineman.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Dessling.
Yes.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. I'm going to call each one by one. Dr. Rowe.
All right, will the newly elected board members please step forward, and President Alva Kreutzer will administer the oath of office to the recently elected members of the Board of Education.
I'm going to do Mark first. He's the incumbent, sorry. Mr. Heineman, could you step forward, please?
How far forward?
Yeah, right here.
I don't know if you want to take Becky. You have to repeat after her.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Mark Heineman, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the member of the Board of Education of Township High School District 214
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the member of the Board of Education of District 214
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear
I further swear
I shall respect taxpayer interest by serving a faithful protector of the school district assets.
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual,
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual,
and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
while retaining the right to seek in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education, I accept the responsibility for my role
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role
in equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
I shall foster the Board of Education extensive participation of the community
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community,
formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Township High School District 214.
formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for District 214.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and environment designed to ensure all students
I shall assist in establishing a structure and environment designed to ensure all students
have the opportunity to gain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure continuous assessment of student achievement
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement
and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with the state law.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students
and our community to advance the vision for Township High School District 214.
and our community's schools to advance the vision for District 214.
And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent
And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent
to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created
to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created,
fostering excellence for every student in areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Congratulations. Okay, Joe. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Joe Sager, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the member of the Board of Education of Township High School District 214
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Township High School District 214
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I'm nervous. What can I tell you? I further swear
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members
and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual.
And that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
And that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by the major decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Township High School District 214.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Township High School District 214.
I shall assist in establishing a structure for an environment designed to ensure students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for Township High School District 214.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for Township High School District 214.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision of the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Congratulations. Mark, where's Joe sitting? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you can go. You're duly sworn. Vicki. Oh, you have another one. Okay. Okay. You ready? I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Vicki Chung, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Board of Education of Township High School District 214
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of a member of the Board of Education of Township High School District 214
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
I shall foster the Board of Education extensive participation of community, formulate goals and defines outcomes, and set the course for Township High School District 214.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Township High School District 214.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advance the vision for Township High School District 214.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advance the vision for Township High School District 214.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
How you doing?
Okay.
Probably better than me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Mary Kay Baldino, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of office of the member of the Board of Education of Township High School District 214
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of High School District 214
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in equitable and quality education of every student in the school district.
I shall foster the board extensive participation of community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Township High School District 214.
I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for High School Township District 214.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain the maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall assist in establishing a structure and environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community school to advance the vision for Township High School District 214.
I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advance the vision for Township High School District 214. And
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Congratulations.
Move that to the podium.
Okay. We are now at organization of the board and the appointment of President Pro Tem, Dr. Rowe.
All right, I will now open the floor for nominations for President Pro Tem.
I make a motion to appoint Mark Heineman, President Pro Tem.
I second that motion, Fiorito.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I declare Mark Hyman President Pro Tem.
I will now open the floor for nominations for the office of president.
I, Frank Fiorito, make a motion to nominate Alva Kreitzer for board president.
I second the nomination. I second the nomination, Baldino.
Is this me?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for the office of president? If there are no, don't need to rush it.
Okay.
If there are no further nominations, I declare Alva Kreutzer elected by acclamation as president of the Board of Education for a one-year term. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm on, okay.
Cheers.
I will now open the floor for nominations for the office of vice president.
I move, Sager, that Frank Fiorito be nominated for vice president.
Second, Vicky Chung.
Are there any other nominations for the office of vice president? If there are no further nominations, I declare Frank Fiorito elected by acclamation as Vice President of the Board of Education for a one-year term. Congratulations. Appointment of Board Secretary. I'm looking for a motion to appoint Linda Keys as Board Secretary.
Make a motion to appoint Linda Keys Board Secretary.
Second, Baldino.
There's been a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Dessling,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung. Yes. Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Segrer,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye. Thank you. Appointment of Board Treasurer. I need a motion and a second to appoint Tim Keeley as Board Treasurer.
I move to appoint Tim Keeley as Board Treasurer.
Second, Sager.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Heineman,
Aye.
Segrer,
Aye.
Baldino,
Aye.
Chung. Yes. Dessling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Establishment and approval of board meeting minutes, dates, and location. Can I have a motion to approve those, please?
Motion to approve the board meeting dates, times, and locations. Chung.
Second, Fiorito.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Please call the roll.
Chung.
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Segrer,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve Hinshaw, Culberson, Franzik, Kira, Bocek, Gordon, Reese, Scully, and Manskuhani, the law firms for District 214 legal matters. Motion and a second, please.
Make a motion for all of those.
And I second.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Was that Heineman second? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Thank you. Dessling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung.
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Segrer,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, next on the agenda is a motion for, these are state committees that we have to have. So the Parent-Teacher Advisory and the Behavioral Interventions, Mary Kay Baldino, Bilingual Parent Advisory, Mr. Fiorito, Safety Review Committee, Mr. Heineman. Motion and a second, please.
Motion to accept those nominations.
Sec-
Baldino.
Vicki Chung, second.
Second,
Okay.
Chung.
Call the roll.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung.
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Segrer,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have the Code of Conduct. Does everybody have a copy?
Yes.
It's in there.
Ready? We'll do this together. Okay, I shall represent all school districts' constituents honestly and equally, and refuse to surrender my responsibilities to special interest or partisan political groups. I will avoid any conflict of interest or the appearance of impropriety,
which could result from my position,
and will not use my board membership for personal gain or publicity. I will
I
recognize that a board
member has no
legal authority as an individual, and that decisions can only be made by a majority vote at a board meeting. I will take no private action that might compromise the board or administration, and will respect the confidentiality of privileged information. I will abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. I will encourage the respect of free expression of opinion of my board members,
By my
and
fellow board members.
and will participate in board discussion in open, honest, respectful manner, honoring the differences of opinion and perspective. I will prepare for and attend actively participate in school board meetings. I will
sufficiently
informed about the,
and
prepared to act on specific issues before the board, and remain reasonably knowledgeable about local, state, national, and global education issues. I will respectfully listen to those who communicate with the board, seeking to understand their views while recognizing my responsibility to represent the interests of the entire community. I will strive for a positive working relationship with the superintendent, respecting the superintendent's authority to advise the board, implement board policy, and administer the district. I will model continuous learning and work to ensure good governance by taking advantage of board member development opportunities, such as those sponsored by my state and national school board associations, and encourage my fellow board members to do the same. I will strive to keep my board focused on the primary work of clarifying the district's purpose, direction, goals, and monitoring performance. Thank you. I know it's not on the agenda, but if the newly seated board members would like this opportunity to say something. Vicki, would you like to say something? Joe's shaking his head. Okay.
We just said a lot.
You want to thank anybody?
I mean, I'm so grateful and honored to be sitting at this table, representing this District 214 community. I'm looking right now at some of my fellow ex-District 57 school board members who came out to support me, and I appreciate you so much. But, just thank you so much. It's an amazing privilege and responsibility, and I'm so thankful. So thank you.
All right, I'll echo Vicki's sentiments. There's so many wonderful people I've met through my school board work, and I see a lot of you out there, and I'm just happy to be part of that community. I'm happy to be serving my community, to be pushing education forward and given this opportunity. I want to thank my wife Molly and my 3 kids who are here tonight, and just tell you that I believe in public education, and I'm so excited to get to work with this wonderful group of people. Thank you.
Well, I'll just add a few moments here. So I want to thank everybody who came out tonight. I see so many friends and supporters and passionate educators in the audience, and I love that. I love seeing my family here. Thank you, kids, for being here, and I want to thank my husband, Rich, as well. This has been a really great journey, figuring out that I wouldn't serve in this way, and I am very happy to be serving with such an incredible group of people on this board who I know I will learn a lot from. Thank you so much.
Mr. Hyman, go ahead.
I just want to voice my disappointment in not being able to campaign, because if we had been able to campaign, we would have rocked it.
Yeah, Mark, okay. Okay, we're going to continue. So I'm going to pause we'd love for you to stay for the meeting, but I'm going to pause a few minutes if you would like to leave, okay? Bye. Okay, you had your chance. Next on the agenda is public comments, and no one has signed up. And now it's superintendent's report.
All right, well, kind of as I begin, I offer my congratulations to the four newly elected board members. Welcome back, Mark, and welcome to our 3 new people. I'm excited to work with you. And I would say, for an uncontested election, 20,000 votes isn't half bad.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And to go through some of the the symbolic acts of stating an oath like that and reaffirming your commitment to why you ran for the board. There are certain things about organization meetings and public meetings like this that the symbolic gestures that we make are super important. It may seem mundane, it may seem like a hoop that we have to jump through, but actually it is very symbolic and a wonderful reminder as to why we're here. We're here to serve the kids in our community, and reaffirming that every 2 years as a group is a very healthy thing. So I appreciate that, and again, congratulations. Tonight my report is, I just want to make a statement about an event that we just held this evening. We had the Youth Apprenticeship Program recognition. And I'd like to take a moment to highlight that continued success of that apprenticeship program, something that we're incredibly proud of in District 214. Earlier today, President Kreutzer represented the board at our Youth Apprenticeship Recognition Celebration. It was a great event where we celebrated our seniors and who completed their apprenticeship and thanked their employers who made these opportunities possible. When we started this program 6 years ago, we had just 4 district apprenticeships. Today we had 35 student apprentices working with more than a dozen community partners in a wide range of fields from AI to legal services to veterinary science and pharmacy. We heard from a couple of our students who is pursuing a degree in veterinary medicine, headed to Michigan State, and a young man from Wheeling who gave a wonderful explanation of his experience at an Elk Grove law firm, who I believe was headed to U of I to study history and political science and go into law. But these apprenticeships are paid year-long opportunities where students build real-world skills, both technical and professional, and walk away with confidence, career connections, and often a head start into employment as they go into college. It's not just a benefit for our kids, it's a benefit for our employers too. They gain valuable support during the year and help build a local workforce pipeline, which is incredibly important to our local economy. And I want to give a special recognition to Kathy Gannon. I saw her earlier. She slipped out, but Kathy Gannon and Dr. Marcella Zip, their leadership has been outstanding. Recently, they were both nominated for the Ennis Innovators Award for their work with this program, and they've helped shape this into a nationally recognized model. I'm going to throw Laz Lopez and Barb Kane into that. Their incredible work with the Center for Career Discovery makes this possible as well. And the best part is we're just getting started. We have 145 applicants for next year, and we expect at least 60 of those students to be placed in apprenticeships with 12 new employer partners joining, bringing our total to 32. So the program's growing, and the impact is going to be tremendous and continue to support one of the best education programs in the state of Illinois, if not the nation. So thank you to all who contributed to that, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe. We have one action item, accounts payable. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved, Fiorito.
Second, Chung.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We have several discussion items tonight, and I think you're up, Dr. Rowe.
All right, that I am. All right, I am gonna begin this NSSCO series of our meeting before we hear from our NSSCO partners about their budget. And I'm proposing a resolution for your consideration. I'd like to read, I'm just going to prepare you, it's a little lengthy. I'm going to read a statement about the why behind this resolution. You know, Mr. Fiorito has shared earlier in the school year that NSSCO, like District 214, has a new strategic plan. In December, the NSSCO board approved the 4 pillars of that plan, which are facilities, to develop and implement a fiscally responsible long-range facilities plan that ensures a safe and supportive environment for all students and staff. And instruction and programs is a pillar. Design and utilize the continuous improvement process for instruction and program development that responds to the evolving needs of all students. A governance pillar. Implement a clearly defined advisory and governance structure that promotes collaborative decision-making and meaningful engagement from all member districts in an NSSCO. And staffing. Recruit and retain high-quality staff through effective hiring practices and a positive work culture rooted in support, recognition, and professional growth. Since that approval, between January and April, the strategic planning conversation has appeared to have shifted a bit, particularly around the governance pillar. While initial discussions were focused on strengthening collaborative decision-making structures, the recent emphasis seems to have narrowed to simply increasing communication with member superintendents. It is difficult to explain why this shift occurred, but it has become evident and concerning that the original why behind the governance direction for cohesive, shared decision-making has been overshadowed and lost in translation. As a result, the focus has drifted away from seeking a sustainable long-term governance redesign toward more surface-level communication solutions. Therefore, I and several of my colleagues have elected to bring forward the resolution before you tonight in an effort to ensure that District 214 is abiding by the pillars set forth in the strategic plan as an active member of NSSEO. This resolution outlines this board's expectations of our representatives and that collaboration with myself and this board will remain strong, and every vote cast will be a representative of this board's will, not that of an individual representative. It has been my observation over the last 2 years that NSSEO has gradually shifted from functioning as a true collaborative to operating more as an independent school district. I don't place this blame at anyone's feet, especially not Meg and Gavin, who are here this evening. But I do believe that we must be intentional about returning to a cooperative, representative of our member districts. As a result, the foundational spirit of collaboration and shared ownership among member districts has been diminished a little. NSSEO now functions with greater autonomy, often making decisions without full engagement from the member districts, which is contrary to the original cooperative model. This is not how the structure was intended to operate. As you know, the proposed operating board, which is the model used by many other special education cooperatives in the Chicagoland area, was intended to restore true collaboration and ensure all member districts have a meaningful voice. Most importantly, this structure would shift the dynamic from districts passively receiving decisions made by NSSEO to actively contributing to them, ensuring decisions are informed by the collective needs and interests of all parties involved. As we all know, member districts' contributions form the foundation of NSSEO's budget. For this reason, it is essential that all member districts have the opportunity to provide input on decisions with significant financial implications. For perspective, District 214's contributions account for approximately 25% of NSSEO's budget. We have a major financial investment and therefore interest in sound fiscal practices, necessitating clear lines of communication and decision-making, whether it be capital improvements that are sorely needed, an increase in staffing levels which directly impact our financial requirements, or the alteration of the EL support structures, which not all members are in full support of. These trends underscore the importance of ensuring that financial decisions are made with transparency, input, and alignment to member district priorities. Fortunately, Mr. Fiorito has kept this board fully apprised about the governing structure conversations along the way, and this resolution is nothing new to this group and will ensure that we will continue. The NSSEO Governing Board is currently working through key questions related to the proposed governance structure. In parallel, administrative teams are developing a calendar of meetings and agenda topics to ensure a more timely and transparent flow of information to member districts and boards. While no formal vote has been scheduled yet, Mr. Fiorito proposed last night a change to the Articles of Agreement, and a June discussion and a vote appears imminent. That said, if meaningful structural changes are not implemented beyond just adding the Articles of Agreement, I have some concerns about the long-term sustainability of NSSEO as it currently operates. I am committed to the team of superintendents as well as to Dr. Schnorr, and District 214 is going to do our part to help guide this process along as we deeply value our partnership with NSSEO, but it is time for change. All right, after this long-winded explanation of why we are here with our NSSEO partnership, I believe this resolution before you this evening is a strong, symbolic, yet binding first step to help NSSEO improve by declaring our expectations for our governance board rep. This resolution outlines the expectations of communicating with fellow District 214 board members, myself, and seeking input from our board to inform their decisions as representatives of District 214. In the future, strong collaboration will continue with the superintendents and Dr. Schnorr in support of NSSEO, and ultimately, I believe the operational board is a necessity and hope the NSSEO board votes yes to add this layer of support. Until then, we will control what we can in District 214 and outline our expectations for our board representatives and model good governance for our neighbor. With that, I will hand it back to President Kreutzer
Thank you.
for
Mr.
discussion.
Fiorito, anything to add?
I don't have anything of substance to add. I did attend last night's meeting. I have not sent out the meeting minutes yet, but I will promise I'll have it. If not tomorrow, it'll be on Saturday. I don't want to ruin everybody's Mother's Day weekend. But the whole idea of looking at the board agreements, I think Gavin and Meg, who were both present, I think it's long overdue. The fact that I was there when Barb Toney led the board workshop when we came up with those agreements 10 or 11 years ago. It was good to hear the majority of the board were all in favor of reviewing board agreements and making sure that with this new organizational structure that board members will know their roles and what their expectations are, not only for themselves but also for the boards that they represent. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We will vote on this at the next meeting. Thank you. You're up. So annually, we hear from NSSEO on their budget. And we have their superintendent, Schnorr, and Gavin. Your title, Gavin, is Chief Financial Officer? Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing us this time at your very busy board meeting tonight. It's always wonderful to come back to where I started my career here at District 214, and it's always good to come home. Tonight we are going to review the NSSEO budget for the 25-26 school year, and Gavin is going to go through some slides with you, and then we're happy to take any questions that you may have.
You can go ahead and skip on to the third page, please. All right, so just wanted to briefly start with kind of the budget process at NSSEO. So in December, we reach out to all of our member district special ed representatives. We start discussing enrollment, staffing projections for purchase services, things of that nature. So we start that in December, and then we have a finance advisory committee that meets at the end of January. Frank was on it, as well as our representative from District 57. So again, that's made up of all 8 member district business managers, all 8 admin reps, which are the special ed representatives, the 2 board members, and then NSSEO administration. So in January, we kind of established the rates that we're building into the budget. So that includes our insurance rates, our workers' comp rates, IMRF, rent for our rental at minor, things of that nature. So we take those numbers in January and we start kind of building, and then we use the enrollment projections that we get from the districts, and we kind of start building our budgets out using those figures. So we meet again in early March. At that time, we review the tuition program costs. So that's for Kirk, Minor, Timber Ridge, our DHH program, as well as our purchase service costs. So what we do, we have multiple OTs, PTs, everything that our districts purchase. They might not need a full OT, so they purchase 0.4 for 2 days of work or things like that. So we kind of look at our entire program, average out the cost, and that's what we end up billing out for those services. So those numbers are presented in March. Once we review those, at the end of March is when I'm able to provide each member district with their actual projected budget, which is what you see in your packet today. So as we do that, I just wanted to make note, the Kirk tuition, which is where the majority of your students go, that went up by 3.8% this year. Our CBA, the staff salaries went up by 3.75%, so it's right in alignment with where our salaries are increasing. That's kind of just about the exact number of where our tuition is increasing for the year. And then the DHH program, which you guys house here at Hersey, that tuition increase went up by 3.2%. Next page. So this is a snapshot of our overall budget. First off, we have a zero balance budget, which means our expenditures match our revenues identically. And then at the end of the year, any remaining funds from any of the programs actually get sent back out to all of our member districts. Last year, we sent District 214 $117,000 back. Once we go through the audit, see what's remaining in all of those programs, we break it out and send it back to you. You can see here a snapshot of our overall budget. So on the top, you see that we have about a 7% increase for next year. It's a little bit skewed. This includes about $9 million in TRS on behalf payments that our auditors have us build in the budget. you have to do it at your budget too. It's not actual money that comes in or out or anything like that. It's just a number that they build in for pension liabilities down the road. And then it also includes $3 million for the Kirk HVAC project that we're doing right now. So you can see that those numbers are a little bit higher. I removed those two things on the bottom chart because the Kirk HVAC project will be over eventually. It's not a recurring cost or anything like that. So our actual increase of the overall budget from this year to next year is 1.48%. Just a little bit more information about NSSEO. Revenue-wise, we receive just about 90% of our revenue from local sources, so that's tuition, purchase service payments, things like that. We get about 7.8% from the state and 3.7% from the federal government. Okay. So again, this is in your packet. This is probably one of the more important pages in the document. So this is kind of the snapshot of District 214's proposed budget for next year. So again, I work with Megan and get kind of enrollment numbers and projections, and those are kind of what's built in here. So you can see on the left column is either the number of students or the amount of purchase services, and then in that next column, you kind of see the cost associated with that, and in the final right column, you see the total. So this is a snapshot. You see you have 57 students projected at Kirk, 5 at the DHH program here at Hershey, and then just kind of broken out all of the different purchase services that you are looking to purchase for next school year. All right, and then last page, again, I just wanted to kind of emphasize, the snapshot of it all. So you can kind of see in the top right where your enrollment is projected. So the column on the left shows that you were budgeted at 54 students at Kirk this year. You're right at 54 currently. Next year, you're projected to go up by 3. So this kind of just shows you a snapshot of where you were budgeted this year, where you actually stood as of about December, January, and then where your projections are next year. I also kind of broke out a little bit further. So you are continuing the purchase service of 1.3 for FTE for vision, 2.8 for OT, 1.3 for PT, 0.5 for AT, and 0.3 of coaching support. And then you did increase your OT needs by 0.8 FTE, 0.1 PT, decreased a little bit of the adaptive PE, and increased coaching a little bit. So all said and done, with the additional 4 students and the additional purchase services for next year, we're looking at an overall increase of about $270,000. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Mr. Fiorito, anything to add?
Yeah, I have one question and one comment. I'll start with the comment. First, my comment, which I've said here before, but I'll say it since you're here, is I want to applaud both Tim and Gavin. Gavin, I want to applaud you because during these meetings, specifically the first and second meeting, you offered all the districts that were present the opportunity to discuss items. You also brought before that group some suggestions on where they could potentially have cost savings. I was not very happy with some of the lack of responses, but that's just the way it was. And on Tim, I want to thank you because I know you've played a big part in helping NSSEO along with some other the business managers with their budget, and I think it really showed. So I want to thank both of you for that. So now my question. So last night at the meeting, Brad Carter mentioned yesterday that we will need less than half of the contractors for the 2025 extended school year. So which should, in theory, generate some cost savings. So my question for you was, how will it impact the budget for possibly next year, but how will it also impact our budget for this year? Because that would be covered in this year's budget.
Sure. So we were obviously very happy to hear that from Brad. I know that everyone kind of knows that we ended up shortening our ESY by 4 days for the coming year, mostly for construction reason. We're doing a couple projects at Kirk, and then also District 25 is doing one at Minor. And then there was a little bit of portion of it that was kind of staff, a lot of our staff hadn't really signed up for ESY the past couple of years. We had really been seeing that number increasing. I think a couple years ago it was 8, then it was 12, then it was 14. And then last summer we had so many of our staff that were just kind of too burned out to really show up that I think we were upwards of 30 contract agency people to come in, which is really difficult, for our students who work with their staff all year, and then all of a sudden we're bringing in people that they've never met before, and they're trying to build relationships within 10, 14 days. So just from a more of a personal standpoint, it's definitely more helpful for our students to see that number drop by 50% and have our staff really, committed to those 10 days to being there with our students. And then, the cost saving part is always huge as well. So it's, as you know, when you contract someone out, you're going to pay a 20%, 30% premium, things like that. So we'll see that saving as we were able to reduce those staff members.
Mr. Keeley, do you have anything to add?
I don't. I would just echo Mr. Fiorito's comment that, yeah, the CSBOs have been engaged a lot this year with that. I know Dr. Rowe and I and Kara Kendrick, as well as Megan Muldoon-Brown, have had discussions as well, trying to really dig into those numbers and understand when we're given these increases, these numbers, what does that really mean? And I think the Gavin sharing the the student count is important. It gives context to it, as well as the itinerant, or not itinerant, the related services. I think that's really important for us to understand from year to year, because, with the amount that we use, one FTE of an OT can really affect our budget. So I think it's exciting with the new strategic plan. This is kind of a new way of doing business. So happy to be part of it.
Board members. Mr. Dustling.
I can do it. I did it. After listening to Dr. Rowe's statements on the reason that we should have the resolution and other comments, make me feel good about this budget and how that fit or doesn't fit into what was read before about the resolution and whatever else.
Sure. I think we're looking for as much collaboration as possible, and we want as much involvement as possible, and we're kind of working through that process, right? We've kind of operated the same way with the Finance Committee for many years, and I think we're looking at ways. This year I started a monthly business manager meeting with all of our CSBOs to just try to get involvement, try to get conversation going, try to make sure that there's a lot of nuances to our budget. It's very different from yours. We don't get any tax money. There's there are a ton of variances, and it's hard for people to understand. I went through the program with Tim, and I learned a lot of information, and now here at NSSEO, it's completely different. So it's kind of our responsibility to really get all the CSBOs in the room, make sure they understand how all the different pieces are connecting. So that's been my goal.
Sorry. As far as making you feel better about it, I want to share with you that we share a philosophy that we want to be as transparent as possible. We're 2 years in and have uncovered a lot of things that maybe have led to mistrust in the past, and we want to make that right. And part of the way that we're doing that is by making sure that the superintendents are able to be part of the collaboration of the decisions that are made at NSSEO. And it's also very important, and I'm completely on board with the fact that we are making it very clear that when you represent your board at NSSEO, that you're representing your board.
I guess that's what I want to feel good about. I want to feel good about your budget. And I want to feel that I can support it and vote for it. But there's been so many things said tonight and statements made or whatever. I just want to make sure that what I'm voting on is a good package.
Right. The increase in our budget is very close to the increase in salaries from our CBA. And I think that shows that we are trying to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. And we are making sure that we are only assigning positions that are absolutely necessary to make sure that our kids are progressing as much as possible and receiving a free and appropriate public education.
So, Mr. Dustling, if I could add, I think I think what they're presenting tonight is a fair increase, and it is appropriate for them. I feel very comfortable with it, and I think that, and the reason that I feel good about it moving forward is a commitment that Meg has made to the superintendents, which is not going to be easy, but is to slow down and elongate some of the time when something is presented to when it gets to the NSSEO governing board. So that way it has the appropriate amount of time for the CSBOs to discuss it, for our special education leadership to discuss it, and then for the superintendents to be informed in partnership with Meg before it gets to an NSSEO governing board. And it's kind of backwards, how it had been. We received the budget as this is what's going forward, And we asked to slow the process down, which is why they're not here. They're here in late May, and they're usually here a month earlier, so we could dig into the numbers more and try and force that slowdown. And that's the commitment that makes me feel good about where we're going. And you know, they've given them my trust in that moving forward.
So I'm getting a feeling that we're feeling good about it at the staff level, at our highest levels, at our finance level, at our NSSEO board representative level. You're feeling good? Okay.
I think to add, a wise man once told me that one of the possibilities that we have with this new structure is you might have districts that have projects that are upcoming, and there's the opportunity where with these projects, if some of these projects are related to some of the needs of NSSEO, that somehow some of these districts, which could include ours, would partner with them, and you would generate potentially some cost savings. So that's where this partnership could even expand into a better area, and our budgets will look better. So that's what a wise man told me.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Chung? Thank you so much, Dr. Schnorr and Gavin, for coming tonight. I know you've been making the rounds at the other districts, so thank you so much for that. I had a couple questions about the funds for facilities. So I did see that the capital projects reserve for $1 million, it was created in FY24, and it can be carried across multiple years. Let me pause there. Is that correct so far?
Yeah, so that was created, this year was the first year that came into effect. And it was really because the Kirk HVAC system reached critical levels. We only have one rooftop unit that operates for the whole building, and half of it was failing. The pieces couldn't be found anymore, things like that. So as we went through the 10-year facility plan, we kind of realized this needs to happen, and it needs to happen quickly. So last year, at the end of the year, we really started some of those conversations, and this was the decision that the CSBOs kind of landed on, was this new capital improvement reserve account. So this year was the first year that $1 million happened. That's continuing for the next two as we finish this project. We also received about $750,000 for the state for it, and we've kind of worked through some other funding sources for it. It's $1 million this year and next year and the year after that, and then that is something that we're going to kind of look to communicate with the CSBOs and the superintendents as we kind of look through our facility plan and figure out some of those next projects that we're looking to do. We haven't done a lot of large-scale projects, and so now I think that the time is coming due for some of those, and we haven't really had a plan in place before that. So now we're working really diligently to make sure that we're able to kind of do some of those throughout the next 5-10 years.
And to be clear, it's not $1 million for 214, it's $1 million among
Split.
the member districts.
Yes, yeah, thank you. And then my other question related to that is, do you have something specific in mind that you're trying to save up for, or it's more just to have those reserves in case of emergency?
All of the next 3 years will all be for the Kirk HVAC project. So the project will span over 3 fiscal years, and this will kind of allow us to break those costs up. Half of it's happening, actually, the boiler was taken out today. So half of it just started, the last week. The other half of the building will be next year, so next summer. So all of that money will kind of be invoiced throughout 3 years, and that assessment will allow us to pay that off kind of over a 3-year period. And then at that point is kind of when we'll have put together the facilities plan, really looked at things further, and then we can kind of look to start, hey, maybe the year after that we can drop it to 500,000, or it might need to be increased, kind of depending on what the projects look like over the next few years. But again, those will all be decisions made with the superintendents, with the CSBOs, kind of as this new governance structure is formed. We'll be making those decisions yearly.
We also rent one of our schools, which is Minor School. We rent Minor from District 25, which is Arlington Heights. We've been renting it since pretty much the beginning of time. I know when I started at 214 in 1994, Minor School was part of NSSEO, so it goes really far back with this rental situation. The lease is up in June of 2027, and the building is in need of significant repair. We are pretty much on the daily dealing with something at Minor School, and to be honest, it does take my attention away from instruction, which is very frustrating. I know that Scott has been to Minor. I can see Joe nodding feverishly, and I know that Frank has been there as well. It is not in good shape. I know that Kara came, and we really need to take a look at that, and that's something that I think that the superintendent group will start working on in the very near future, but it's a concern.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Dr. Sager?
So I'm very comfortable with this budget as presented. Again, I think the resolution is about future projects that NSSEO has to address. I've spent several years on the governing board there, and I know that the district has facilities issues that are coming up that are part of the strategic plan, and having this structure where they work with the member districts before asking for the money and planning out long range what we need. That's a great structure to have, and it's not just for facilities, it's also for operations and making sure that the programming is well connected with the member districts. And so I'm very happy to hear this direction. I always thought that getting the superintendents more involved, because when we send students to NSSEO, they're still our students, and we have to have ownership of them as the sender districts. So thank you.
And it's proving to be a bit of a struggle for the superintendent group to predict what we're going to need approval on well in advance, but it's integral to what we're going to be doing is making sure that they feel comfortable, and then their board rep is able to speak with them about the issue that we're having, that we would like a vote to be decided upon, and that everybody feels comfortable, because that is the meaning of transparency, is everybody knows what's going on, everybody feels comfortable with it, or they're able to voice their opinion as to why they're not. Anything else?
Okay. So this is very different from what we had before, and I really appreciate the transparency in this. There's much more information, and I really appreciate it. Was it a year and a half ago, Dr. Rowe, that we had a all-district facilities needs update where we found out we needed $860 million worth of renovations? And we had a spreadsheet about needs of each building. We're doing something, oh, Chris isn't here this evening. Anyway, so it really gave us a big picture of our renovation needs, and that 866 is no new building. That's just renovations. So have you done that? Are you going to do that? I think that would be beneficial for all of the NSSEO districts to understand what's going on in the 3 buildings, or for the administration center, I should include that.
Yep. So we did complete one of those 2 falls ago. So we got that's kind of how we got to where we got with the Kirk HVAC project. Similar to yours, I think we got the 10-year plan, and it's $28 million or some number that almost gave us a heart attack, right? But similar to you, your roof may be in better shape than they're looking at it, because they're taking a life cycle of it, and they don't actually know what shape it might be in. So when we did that 2 years ago, that's when this Kirk HVAC project really was like blaring at us. Like, this needs to be done, and it needs to be done as soon as possible, which is probably a lot why that rollout didn't happen as smoothly as it should have, because it really kind of became kind of an emergency type situation. We didn't have any reserves, and you know, that's kind of where we ended up. But we did complete that. We do have the 10-year, same spreadsheet probably that you have. We used Archon Architects. Really great information, a ton of information, you know, the dates and the years that things were installed and things like that. So our plan, me and my director of facilities, we were taking that information kind of with his historical knowledge, kind of figuring out, okay, this we can do in-house. This is something we might need to start saving for with this reserve we created. Just kind of really taking a look at that and piecing it together and kind of figuring out how the next 10 years might look. Like, we know the Timber Ridge windows were on there, and they might have been in year 7 and 8, but those are from 1961, and we know that they're starting to fail a little bit more, and so we might push those up to year 4 and 5 or something like that. So we have that big 10-year document, and now we're kind of looking at kind of actually making it a living document that we're going to kind of address throughout the next few years.
You know, I think we all own homes, and we all know that there's things that we can't put off.
Sure.
And that we need fixing, and certainly a 1961 window is not energy efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck with that, and I really appreciate Dr. Rowe's comments tonight about the resolution, and I think moving forward, this will be a very good thing, and hopefully all districts will vote to have this. I'd really appreciate it. But board members, any other questions?
Since you mentioned the resolution, I don't know, Dr. Rowe, is this something that all districts have a copy of it and are considering, or is it a District 214?
All districts have a copy of it. To my knowledge, I want to say 6 of the 8 have committed to a date already. I'm not sure where the other 2 are. But in the next 2 weeks, I think 5 or 6 districts will have adopted the same resolution.
I saw Deb.
We actually built it together at one of our superintendent meetings.
I saw Deb back there at 21 saying, yep, we got it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, thank you. You're on to 211?
Next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So 1113, is this Mr. Keeley?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? This evening, we have a discussion item. It'll come as an action item at the next board meeting, but I was just studying up on this. Back in December of 2021, we did an RFP for yearbook, photography, and memorabilia, et cetera. It's kind of all-encompassing, includes cap and gowns, et cetera. At that time, the board awarded it to 2 vendors. And so this evening, we have for you, which was actually in the original proposals. We requested that they provide us proposals for a 2-year extension on the original 3 years. So visual image photography, VIP, you are VIP, was the low for the photography. And then for yearbooks, it was Justin. So if you look in your packet, you can see for the yearbook, it's essentially flat. It's a 1% increase in year 4, and then year 5, it's a 0 increase, which is phenomenal. When we awarded this, it was kind of a hybrid award. It was a quality and dollars and cents. So when we looked at that, Justin's was the best mix of quality and price at that point. So it's good to know that in spite of the current inflationary market, they're offering essentially a flat renewal. And then VIP with the photography, their year 4, which is this coming year, is a 4% increase, and then year 5 also is a flat 0% increase. So I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board at this point. And then again, this will go as a consent agenda item at the next board meeting.
Thank you. Board members?
Hey, Tim, I just want to correct you. The VIP, it's a 2% increase, right, in the 4th year? Not 4%?
Oh, did I say 4%? I apologize.
It's
I
2.
saw 4th year.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's 2%
Numbers.
on our.
Yeah, so it's 2% and then it's flat in year 5. You
Okay,
are
thank
correct.
you.
Thank you.
No, it's okay.
So my question was, this is locked in for years 4 and 5 then? So they're committing to 0% in that 5th year?
That's correct. Yes, we have signed authorizations from both vendors attesting to that before we brought it to the board.
Okay, thank you. What do we have? 1121, Mr. Maggi?
Thank you. Before you, you have the results of a bid for the Community Education Program Guide, which we distribute 2 times a year, in addition to the District 214 Annual Report, which this past year was our first annual report going out to the community. We've worked with both vendors in the past. Our current vendor is KK Stevens. We've been satisfied with their production, their quality, the responsiveness, and would recommend accepting their bid for next year with a 1-year potential contract extension.
Board members? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Maggi. 1131, is that you, Dr. Lopez? Or is that, oh,
It's me.
Kara?
District 214 has been expanding translation and interpretation services to meet growing needs. This is a significant need in several areas, but specifically in IEP meetings to ensure that non-English speaking families clearly understand everything. This aligns with our strategic plan, goal number 2, fostering an environment that values everyone and cultivates a sense of belonging for all students, family, and staff. As a result, we vetted several options and determined that INCO International could not only provide these services in nearly any language, but also provide simultaneous interpretation services, which shortens meetings immensely and creates many efficiencies. Additionally, INCO has trained special education interpreters who can explain anything that families may not understand. We believe the use of INCO will enhance the experience for students and families.
Board members, Mr. Fiorito?
Yeah, I'll just give a little history for our three newbies. It was a while ago that we had a meeting and we had a translator present. And at the time, I remember Kira telling us that the cost of the translators in similar situations to this were just astronomical, and we were just bleeding. So I am in full support of this contract because I think it not only probably adds value, especially since you mentioned special ed, and I didn't hear that before, but it also will, in the long term, save us some money. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, good, thank you. Are you still up?
We're up. Alvin's with me. Let's do it. First of all, you're right here with me. I'm really excited to be here with Alvin tonight because we have talked for a long time about the need for an SEL curriculum in our district. Specifically since COVID, we all know that our students have struggled more with behavior and attendance. And so figuring out where we could fit this into what we do every day and already very busy schedules has been a bit of a challenge. But through our strategic plan, we have determined that this is a priority, which is absolutely awesome. And I am thrilled to say that the PE departments have agreed to help us make this happen. So in partnering the student services and PE, we are looking to onboard a curriculum so that we can best serve the needs of all of our students. So I think we all know what social emotional learning is. It's certainly not a trend. It's how we learn to understand and manage our emotions, set attainable goals, feel empathy, build strong, healthy relationships, and make decisions we can feel good about. For those of us who live with teenagers, I just kept thinking of my teenagers through this whole thing. This could benefit everyone, of course, but certainly our teenagers. This all aligns with our Illinois state learning standards, which have specific goals, very important to ensuring that we are meeting these needs in all of our schools. Despite what people may think, it's not just about feelings, it's about growing into the kind of person you want to be and developing life skills that will last far beyond high school. In Illinois, these focus on self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. The District 214 strategic plan has specified in Goal 2 that we are fostering an environment that values everyone and supports them to succeed, but specifically that we are offering a dedicated social emotional resource to promote student wellness. As we work through the strategic plan, it is evident that our students needed more support related to social emotional growth, adaptability, inclusivity, and resilience. Goal number 2 supports the success of everyone by building strong relationships and a connected community that prioritizes a sense of belonging for all and social emotional resources to promote student wellness, which brings us to how we got here, and I will let Alvin take it from here.
Alvin, introduce yourself and where you're from, your title, and all that good stuff, okay?
Will do, will do. Thank you so much. My name is Alvin Lewis. I am the CTP division head over at John Hersey High School. So again, as we talk about fostering that environment, we talk about the ability to ensure that our students have a place where they feel welcome. And our students really have a place where they are in tune with their social emotional needs. We do understand when we talk about social emotional learning, right, it's important for our students, but it's important for every person who walks through our doors. So those are those personal and those professional abilities for us to be in tune with who we are. And so we start that by, and I'll talk about a little more, by training our staff in order to ensure that we do this with our students. And so how we got here, so Dr. Rowe made a lot of visits in year one over to our buildings and to have conversations with the individuals within our buildings and the teachers within our buildings about the needs of our students. SEL came up. Dr. Rowe talked with all of our PE staff on January 6th of this year, and when he was appointed superintendent, one of the first questions he got was, how are we going to address the social emotional needs and the mental needs of our students, right? And we really believe that that's going to happen here with our social emotional learning. So going through this process, I worked with Dr. Lopez and with our Regional Office of Education to really discuss the aspect of curriculum and what curriculum could be, but also talking about goal 2 of our strategic plan. So we really worked through the strategic plan, worked with our DLT or our district leadership team, and then on February 26th came together with a group of stakeholders. Within that group of stakeholders being PE teachers within our schools, students within our schools, our CTEP division heads, associate principals for student services, and some of our student service members. No knock on anybody, but I really want to say that in my opinion, the greatest stakeholder in this meeting and the greatest need and the greatest conversations that we had really came from our students. The insight of our students of what they truly need and what's important to them was phenomenal in that meeting. So when we look at Ruler, we think about the aspects of Ruler. It comes from the Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence. And as we look at Ruler, we also want to think about what we want to build within our students. You can see in our bullet points here, our students are understanding the values of their emotions, right? Kara talked a little bit, and this from my dean background, that student behaviors do happen, right? But as the student behaviors happen, how do we better equip our students to understand where those behaviors happen and how we can improve with those behaviors? Again, building those skills of emotional intelligence, right? We all need those skills, and we're all looking to build those skills each and every day. I don't have teenagers, but I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, right? As we build that with them, I'm trying to build the same thing within myself as I try to teach them. But then again, remaining and keeping those positive cultures, right, and positive environments within our buildings that we can wrap around our students, and our students feel welcome, right? And our students, when they walk into our buildings, and they walk into all the spaces, and our staff walk into these spaces, that they feel like they're a part of what we do. And so as we look at the Ruler skills, and we look at the acronyms of Ruler, right, you'll see it spelled out there. Again, recognizing our emotions, right? Each and every one of us need to do that each and every day as we walk into all spaces, right? Not just our workspace, but our home spaces also. Understanding causes and consequences, right? What causes these emotions, right? And understanding how we control our own emotions, but also control the emotions of others. Labeling those emotions, so there's vocabulary that comes with that, right? The mood meter, things of that nature, right? Labeling those emotions and giving our students the ability to have that understanding, expressing, and finally, what we all work to do, regulate those emotions in some of those toughest times. So we think about implementation. So our implementation process, when we look at implementation, we are looking to do some staff training in fall of 2025. So as we come back into a new school year to begin that staff training with our freshman PE teachers. Again, looking at our freshman PE teachers first, because as we roll this out, we really want to ensure that the rollout is not to everyone right at one time, right? But we roll it out incrementally to ensure that we can go back and we can fix and we can continue to do the work to make sure that this is right for our students. So the staff training will happen in fall of 2025, implementation for our freshman PE students in the spring of 2026. Then we'll work with do that with our sophomore PE going into the fall of 2026. And then year 1 of our junior-senior curriculum, and then year 2 of our junior-senior curriculum. So what you'll see, just like you saw in the strategic plan, is that this will start with our freshmen next year, right? And that freshman class will be the first class that gains this SEL curriculum every single year through their high school career. Again, as we roll out, we want to ensure that we're rolling out in a great way, and we're learning from the rollout as we prepare, and we do this with each of our subject areas. We do see here at the bottom that our student services teams will continue to embed this SEL within their push-in topics, within that core curriculum that they teach within our grade levels. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations to our new board members. I look forward to working with you in the future. And to our current board members, I continue to look forward to work with you in this future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Board members? Anyone?
There you go.
Dr. Chung, hold on.
Thank you so much to both of you for coming tonight. I did have a couple questions. First, I know that before choosing Ruler, that teachers and students and staff vetted other SEL programs, and just wondering, what was it about Ruler that really drew you compared to the other ones that you looked at?
100%. That's a great question. So as we looked at it from the standpoint of relatability to our students and the ability for us to customize these lessons for our students. The big thing we know is when you look at a curriculum resource that there are a lot of great things that curriculum resource offers, but our students are unique, right? And we don't necessarily want to give that cookie cutter to every single student, but I understand that my Hershey student, right? And I'm going to use Rolling Meadows for an example because I worked at Rolling Meadows, right? The needs of my Hershey student may be different than the needs of my Rolling Meadows student, right? And what Ruler allows us to do is to customize these lessons to meet the needs of our students and to have an understanding that each one of our students they have different things going on. But along those lines also, the folks in the room, right? The feedback of the stakeholders. That was really that driving force of ensuring that we made that decision with Ruler and understanding that Ruler is, it's research-based, right? It's backed by the Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence. And some of our feeder districts do also utilize Ruler, all right? So again, ensuring that, developmentally that we are doing the things that we need to do to prepare our students for life after high school.
I just had one other question. So I'm not super familiar with other SEL programs. I do know a little bit about Second Step, and I felt like even in looking at Second Step versus Ruler, in the flyer, it talked about adult first with the training, and even in your implementation, it was staff training first and then not till, whereas I feel like Second Step was just really jumped right into student training. And is that accurate, or is that something that you
Yes, absolutely, right? And that was one thing that we all talked about when we were in our meeting, right, with the committee. But again, going back to what I said earlier, right, we have to have the understanding that we have to prepare the adults in order to in order to provide the curriculum. And so equipping our adults, because we all understand that when we walk into our workplace, we have this imaginary backpack on, and it's got rocks in it from home. It's got rocks in it from work, right? And so we talk about that regulation piece, right? We have to be able to regulate. Let me be personal. I have to be able to regulate first before I can teach my students to regulate. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Dustley?
Yes. Last year, well, was it last year? Maybe the year before. As we came out of COVID, we hired psychologists for each school and counselors for each school. How does this fit in with that?
So our student services teams are amazing, and they do a great job of pushing in at all grade levels to our classes, and that is a huge priority, that whatever the topics are that are being covered in our freshman PE courses, we will embed those exact same topics in our push-ins with our student services teams. So those are more SEL related when we talk about related services, our social workers and psychs, and then our counselors work a lot around the academic piece and helping kids prepare for course selection and choosing their pathways and all of those pieces. So it's all embedded in what the counselors are doing when they push in.
Mr. Dusling, to your question, I would add, if you think about the pyramid of like RTI, the pyramid of need, where you have the bottom layer is all, then you have need a little additional support, and then the greatest area of need. A dean, a counselor, a dean, a social worker, and a psychologist is targeted at students that have a higher level of need than, say, all students. This is tier one, all students receive this. It's foundational, and I think that's where the difference lies.
I do have another question. Here we're looking at, for the first, is this for the first year, 25, 26, $42,000?
Yeah, it's 2 years, and we have a lot of support around our staff and trainings throughout that time.
But they're gonna go on every year, they're gonna get this. They start as freshmen, every year they get it, and then we got another freshman group coming in. So when does this 42 stay at 42, or what happens to it?
No, it's less in the years after the first 2 years. We're paying significantly less just to maintain it, but we definitely want, this will continue, we're just starting with the freshmen. The goal is that we are embedding SEL across all grade levels after the first year.
So the cost is higher in the first couple of years because
Yes.
there's more time and intensive staff training. The maintenance, like the access to the curriculum and support is kind of a subscription fee.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to understand, I was trying to understand that on a going forward basis, but, you know, to train a staff and get everything ready on the first go-round, 42,000 doesn't sound like much.
That's we opted for the virtual training. Because we can train a lot more people at once, and we definitely want our student services teams to be trained. We want as many PE teachers as we can possibly get trained, as well as our CTE, PE division heads, and our APSSs. So we have a lot of people that we want to get trained, and so this allowed us that opportunity.
I'm certainly, you know, anything you could do to make it equitable and make it less costly or whatever it is, but just 42,000 for a program like this that's going to really address the social emotional levels of the students sounds awfully. Doesn't sound like, maybe that's just me talking. Doesn't sound
Maybe
like
you
a
can
lot of
thank
money.
our negotiator here.
Well, just doesn't sound like a lot of money to get
You're
something like
welcome.
this going, you know?
And the other option was to send smaller teams to Yale for a more, week-long intensive training, and the cost was significantly more. But as Kara said, we can widen our impact and then have our collective ongoing conversations internally. And I think, the team felt that giving that a shot was the best route to go.
Okay.
Dr. Sager?
So first of all, I want to say thank you for the presentation. Social emotional learning for teenagers, especially when they are learning new emotions as they go, is super critical. My question is, how do we know that this program is a success? How do we evaluate it going forward to know that we've met the needs of our students?
That's a great question. I mean, this is all embedded in the curriculum, where we're doing some benchmark testing throughout the process to ensure that it is making a difference. And we can also look at, certainly, at our freshman behavior, at our freshman attendance. And I will say that now that we have freshman closed study hall across the district for all students, this does allow those push-ins from student services to be accessible, much easier for all freshmen, which is great, because then we've got PE and our freshman study hall, and that will allow us to have a better opportunity to benchmark across the board, all students.
And I
all
appreciate
freshmen.
your question, Dr. Sager. I think that what I would add to it is we have an entire goal of the strategic plan is built on student belonging, and this is goal 2B. So this is the beginning of more to come. And one of the things that I know that Mrs. Kendrick and her team have been talking about are the concept of, they've had like conversations around improving student surveys, but it's not just about the surveys, maybe more the platform that survey is delivered. And there are universal screeners that have come up in conversation that give us baseline information about the general well-being of students across a broad range that we can then use to identify what are areas we need to go attack with the more acute supports. We're just not there yet.
Right, and I would just like to make sure that we're setting those goals ahead of time rather than looking for, because measures will fluctuate and we don't want to just pick out the ones that are good. We want to say, here's this baseline, we expect these to improve, and hopefully see that.
No, I really appreciate that. And actually what we don't have yet on our strategic plan are the metrics. That's coming later toward the end of the summer. So 2B will have some metrics that will come back later in the summer. But you're hitting on the newly minted vision of using data to drive our decisions, and I really appreciate that question.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes.
Couple quick things, and I really appreciate the presentation on this. It's such an important topic. I also like that it's not a big bang approach, that it's going to be rolled out in phases. I had two brief questions. One, is this replacing some other kind of curriculum or professional development program? This is brand new. Okay.
Brand new.
All right. Great. Second question, how do you intend to do ongoing reinforcement with staff members, since you are starting with staff members, and how will new staff members be brought up to speed on the program as part of their onboarding?
That's an awesome question. We can speak specifically to PE if you want.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So when we talk about the training aspect of things, we want to go through that train-to-trainer model, right? And so this is when you talk about the ruler training, it's a train-to-trainer model where we are going to look to train our staff, right? Train the entire staff. Train our PE staff in specifics right away. But the goal is to ensure that every one of our staff members have the skills and they have the knowledge of what's being taught within our PE courses, right? And doing the same thing as we onboard new staff, right? Especially our new PE staff. So it is an ongoing process. It will be an ongoing process as we look to onboard new staff. But again, when I talk about that culture, I talk about the climate, right? This has to live in every one of our classrooms, right? We can sit up here and I can click back through those slides and we can say, hey, it's going to be implemented within PE. But we really know that in order for culture and for us to build that climate where every one of our students, every one of our staff members feel welcome, that this lives within our buildings, right? When we walk through the doors, like this is a part of us. The ability for us to understand that emotional intelligence, to understand, right, my effect on you and your effect on me, and how we regulate those things. So that's something where we'll look to build within our entire staff with this train-to-trainer model. But again, we have to live it, right? We can talk about it. But we also know when we just talk about things, that things don't go where we need them to go. We have to live this, right? And we have to be able to promote this.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, nice presentation, really appreciate it.
And I want to add my appreciation. Alvin, you have done an exceptional job leading this effort. I just want to say thank you. Bringing something brand new to and coordinating with our PE teachers to something that was foreign to them in terms of thinking a couple of years ago. They've done a great job rallying around this. I'm so appreciative of your leadership to grab this and run with it. Done an excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it's embedded in the strategic plan, moving forward with that. Okay, so next on the agenda is motion go into closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, volunteers, or legal counsel for the public body, and student discipline. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved, Fiorito.
Second, Chung.
Motion and a second. Dr. Rowe, half hour, 45 minutes? What do you think?
That's fair.
Okay, and we will have action.
Definitely before 10.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Chung.
Yes.
Baldino.
Yes.
Dessling. Heineman.
Aye.
Sayer.
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We are now in closed session.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for the thumbs up. Thank you. We are back in open session. We have two roll call items. Mr. Dustling, please.
I move that District 214 Board of Education expel the student from student discipline case number 24-25-12 for violation of school rules and board policy 70-190, prohibited conduct endangering the health or safety of students, staff, or school property. The term of expulsion is for the remainder of the 24-25 school year through the 25-26 school year.
I second the motion. Fiorito.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Dustling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Baldino.
Yes.
Chung. Yes. Heineman.
Aye.
Sager.
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Mr. Heinman.
I move the Board of Education accept the personnel transaction reports as presented.
Second, Sager.
A motion and a second, please call the roll.
Heineman.
Aye.
Skager.
Aye.
Baldino.
Yes.
Chung.
Yes.
Dessling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved. Fiorito.
Second, Chung.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Chung.
Yes.
Baldino.
Yes.
Dessling.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Sager.
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye. We are adjourned.